Hi, my name is Megan Pollock, and I'm an educational equity consultant for the National Alliance for Partnerships and Equity. In this video, I'm going to introduce you to our Action Research for Equity project and give you some tips and tricks for how you can be successful at completing this portion of one of our year-long programs. So to start off, how often do we notice inequities in participation, performance, and completion of some students in certain pathways, yet don't understand the root cause of the issue? How often do we sit through professional development, get excited, empowered, enthused, and leave with the best intentions in applying what we learned in a meaningful and measurable way, but we get swept up into the daily grind? We just don't get around to it. How often do we uncover curiosities in the classroom or any learning environment and flash back to a strategy we learned in a professional development as a potential solution and wish we had a process for applying what we learned? This happens to all of us, and it happens too often. However, we've got a solution to this series of challenges. The National Alliance for Partnerships and Equity is an organization that focuses on building educators' capacity to implement effective solutions for increasing student access, educational equity, and workforce diversity. Our objective of this session, I'm going to describe and explain NAPE's Action Research for Equity project, a component of its flagship program, the Micromessaging to Reach and Teach Every Student Academy. First, let me explain where the AREP, or Action Research for Equity project, fits into our curriculum. A standard implementation of the Micromessaging Academy is a year-long program that includes the following: 24 hours of research-based and strategy-driven professional development, guided professional learning communities, and an action research project. So what is it? An Action Research for Equity project is a culminating effort that brings together all the learning by applying a strategy to create sustainable change. Through the Action Research project, participants can assess how an intentional adjustment impacts those to whom they provide service. Why do we do this, right? Remember Bloom's taxonomy? Well, the Action Research for Equity project spans the gamut. However, it focuses on remembering, understanding, applying, analyzing, evaluating, and creating a solution. The Action Research for Equity project is similar to a capstone project that provides participants with hands-on learning and application of equity concepts by implementing one or more super strategies. Super strategies are a type of micro-affirmative action designed to address specific equity barriers for students. Some are easy to implement, while others require a longer-term investment to affect change. NAPE provides super strategies for every topic within the Micromessaging to Reach and Teach Every Student Academy. Educators may choose to use any of NAPE's super strategies for their AREP or develop their own. And why do we do this? Well, it boosts the participant's self-efficacy, it increases motivation, and because it works. So Parker and her team found that only after participation in the multi-day professional development workshops, learning communities, and presentation of the capstone or AREP project was there a statistically significant shift in faculty members' understanding of how to implement and evaluate strategies to create more equitable learning environments. So our process-driven efforts drive results. The Action Research for Equity project teaches you a modified version of a Six Sigma process improvement to guide your efforts. Again, Parker and her team found that in their qualitative analysis of 71 participant capstone presentations, so again, capstone is the same thing as an action research project here, indicated that 81% of participants demonstrated a measurable improvement, either in student grades, participation in attendance, and or the attitudes towards STEM or STEM interest. So what is action research? Action research is inquiry or research in the context of focused efforts to improve the quality of an organization and its performance. It is typically designed and conducted by practitioners who analyze the data to improve their own practice. action research can be done by individuals or by teams of colleagues. The team approach is called collaborative inquiry. For an AREP, you will start with an observation and turn it into a question, coupled with a strategy delivered as some type of intervention. In these examples, the underlined portions are strategies for improving educational equity for marginalized students in STEM. For example, will deliberate use of microaffirmations change participation of underperforming students? How are my students' perceptions and/or their behavior potential STEM career vocations influenced by exposure to diverse speakers on the topic? Will a teaching unit on growth mindset change students' perceptions about their ability to take a more rigorous mathematics class and/or pursue a STEM career? And the last example here of a question is, if I teach a main concept that is critical for my students to know using the 4 self-efficacy sources, will I be able to increase self-efficacy to a greater extent than if I use traditional models? These super strategies that we're talking about, and we offer hundreds of strategies aligned with each of the modular units. These strategies will leave, as you leave our NAPE training, you'll leave with a long list of research-based strategies. When participating in the full academy, you are going to take away hundreds of specific ideas of things that you can do to improve access, equity, and diversity within your sphere of influence. Ideally, the AREP grows out of several forms of data collection and action research. Data may be quantitative, qualitative. For example, some data may be derived from asking elementary students to draw their interpretation of an engineer, or conducting statistical analyses of performance scores disaggregated by race and gender. Depending on the nature of the research question, participants might use any type of data collection. There are so many types of data collection. Some examples are single surveys, pre and post surveys, comparative tests or exam scores, grades, attendance, participation, observations, student journals, focus groups, interviews, or your notes. The best action research projects are the creative solutions that participants design to address their unique classroom or institutional situations. The super strategy selected may be original or mirrored from a previous project. For sustainable and long-term transformation, participants should align the AREP with institutional goals, school improvement plans, or individual plans for professional development and growth. Public school teachers with a requirement to meet student achievement and teacher performance standards based on the analysis of accountability data, such as that found on a school performance profile, may prefer a project that is compatible with these requirements. So let's look at a sample action research project. So first, the setting, you're going to look at some kind of example. You want to pick where you're going to focus. And so the example here might be a middle school 6th grade science. You're going to document which periods, first, second, fourth period here. You got about 100 students. The second thing that you're going to do is identify the research issue. You're going to answer these questions. What was the issue or question you were aiming to address? You could craft a hypothesis, which is what we recommend. And then you're going to look at what were the related theories from what you've learned in the micromessaging workshops, and then define why did you select this issue. So in my example, the question might be, can I increase the number of female students interested in STEM careers by doing the 3 things? Using micromessaging strategies, by using micromessages to communicate opportunities, or by showing them a variety of occupations and encouraging them. The next thing is to focus on the strategies that you apply. What strategies that you've learned during a NAPE training would you apply? And then why did you select these strategies? Again, these are the questions you're asking yourself as you're debriefing this experiment. So some of the strategies that this example applied is they presented neuroscience and growth mindset lessons. They had students research and give oral presentations about scientists. They posted pictures of scientists in the classroom, the majority of which were female. They provided micro-affirmation, so an emphasized effort and praised progress. They had female guest speakers come to the class and talk to the students. And they had students compete in a couple of robotics competitions. The next part of the action research project is to look at your methods. What did you do? What was your intervention? And how did you examine the research issue that you set out to examine? And so for this example, the person combined a variety of interventions and conducted a pre-post survey. So now we move on to results. What were the results? In this part of the reporting, you demonstrate the data in charts or graphs. And so in this example, the person found that they compared pre-survey of student interest in STEM careers following strategies that they increased positive responses for females in 3 areas. They found that they had an increase from 27% to 90%, where students thought that science is interesting. They had a significant increase in students thinking that they could be a successful scientist, and an increased interest in pursuing a STEM career. And then there's a couple of other observations documented here as well. And then the next part is conclusions. Were your hypotheses validated or disproved, and what did your findings mean? So in this example, the answer is yes. The hypothesis was proved by using micromessaging strategies, by using micromessages to communicate opportunities, and by showing them a variety of occupations and encouraging them. She was able to increase the number of female students interested in STEM careers. And the final parts of this are the reflections, right? Like, this is the most critical piece. What did you learn, and what would you have done differently? And so in this example, the teacher wrote that using several strategies throughout the year, I showed students a wide variety of STEM career opportunities, having the students conduct research, present STEM careers, and compete in the robotics challenges. It made science interesting for them. I found myself collecting more references and articles about new STEM jobs so that I could share hot jobs with the students. I was surprised about how readily the professionals shared their personal stories, including their struggles and what made them successful. And then, what will you do next? How would you like to continue this work? Do you intend to continue this type of action research? What have you committed to change as a result of what you've learned? And how will you help others learn from your experiences? So the example here is the teacher plans to repeat the experiment next year with a weekly STEM career reveal, monthly visits by scientists, and conduct Mindset Mondays, which reminds students that the struggle is a good thing. I think that I will also plan to share more about what we are doing with students' parents. So this is the plan that the teacher made for the next year. And so an action research for equity project could be any number of questions using any kind of strategy. But the purpose is for you to take something that you learned in the training, create some kind of hypothesis that if I do this, I think it's going to lead to this result. You do the intervention, you measure in some kind of way, and then you present those results. And so as you're doing your action research for equity project as a part of one of NAPE's programs, you're going to have tools and guidance all along the way. In most cases, you're going to have an instructor like myself who is going to work with you and coach you through this project. Your professional learning community is going to meet regularly to help coach you and support you in this journey as well. And so the Action Research Project, as I said in the beginning, has proven to be one of the most effective tools for educators who go through this year-long educational equity program to sink in and really settle into what they've learned. And so I'm excited for the journey that you're going to begin with NAPE to do your action research project as a part of one of our programs. And if you have any questions about our action research for equity projects or about NAPE's programs, I encourage you to contact NAPE. So you can visit us at napequity.org and learn more about NAPE and how we can help you and your school meet your educational equity goals and needs. Thank you very much.